In February 1959, 9 experienced hikers vanished in the remote Ural Mountains of Russia. Their bodies were discovered weeks later, scattered, mutilated, and in conditions that defy explanation. Some were barely dressed in the snow. Others had strange injuries that no one could explain. What happened to them remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the 20th century. This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass incident. Tonight, we will explore every piece of evidence, examine every theory, and retrace the final steps of the Dyatlov hikers. Some answers may shock you, some may terrify you, but one thing is certain: what happened on that mountain is a story that still haunts Russia and the world. And if you love mysteries that will blow your mind, hit that subscribe button and join the adventure. Before we can understand what happened on that frozen mountain, we need to know the people who walked its slopes. The Dyatlov group wasn't just a group of students. They were skilled and ambitious and adventurous. Each had dreams and stories of their own. Igor Dyatlov, 23, was the leader. Charismatic, cautious, and experienced in the harsh Russian winter. He had already survived several expeditions and was respected by his peers for his judgment and calm demeanor. His dream was to reach Otorten Mountain, pushing boundaries safely but ambitiously. Lyudmila Dubinina, 20, athletic and determined, was known for her strength and endurance. Her friends admired her courage and sense of humor. Yuri Doroshenko, 21, a medical student, had an analytical mind and practical skills that could have saved the group in emergencies. And other members included Zinaida Kolmogorova, Rastem Slobodin, Alexander Kolevatov, Yuri Krivonishenko, Nikolai Thibault Brignole, and Semyon Zolotaryov, each bringing unique skills, from navigation to survival in extreme conditions. And these were young people at the peak of physical fitness and mental resilience. Their training and preparation would be tested in ways none could have imagined. Their families believed they were safe adventurers on a challenging but routine expedition. They could not know the danger waiting for them in the snowy silence of the Ural Mountains. These weren't reckless teens. They had everything required to survive winter conditions. This makes what happened even more perplexing. It wasn't a lack of skill or equipment that led to tragedy. On January 27, 1959, the group departed from the town of Ivdel. Their plan was meticulous: to cover more than 300 kilometers over several days, crossing dense forests, frozen rivers, and steep mountain slopes. Temperatures were forecasted to drop to minus 30 Celsius, with gusts exceeding 25 meters per second. Along the way, they made slow but steady progress. Diaries and photos show laughter and camaraderie, but subtle entries hint at the increasing challenge: frostbite warnings, ice-covered rivers, and the constant strain of the mountain. On February 1st, the group made their final radio transmission. They reported mild weather and high spirits, but in reality, the Ural Mountains were treacherous. Unseen to them, snow conditions were unstable, and the wind carried deadly risk. Every step required vigilance, and yet something imperceptible lay ahead. Their final campsite would be on the eastern slope of Kolatsiakl, a mountain whose name eerily translates from the local Mansi language as Dead Mountain. It was here that fate would intervene. Mountains are indifferent. They can turn from scenic to lethal in minutes. These hikers faced one of the harshest climates imaginable, and even minor mistakes, minor natural events, could have devastating consequences. Search parties finally located the campsite on February 26th, nearly 3 weeks after the hikers disappeared. But what they found was shocking. The tent was partially buried in snow, ripped from the inside. Personal belongings, boots, jackets, supplies were left behind, suggesting a frantic departure. The footprints told a chilling story: barefoot hikers, some in socks, some in nothing but underwear. Leaving the safety of the tent into an unforgiving winter night, investigators were baffled. What could have caused such panic? The tent's destruction indicates a sudden event. Hikers didn't pack, didn't organize, they ran. This suggests fear, confusion, and urgency of a magnitude that overrode all survival instincts. Despite weeks of investigation, the initial scene provided more questions than answers, like no evidence of a struggle with another person, and no signs of avalanche debris at that location, and no wildlife tracks. It was as if some invisible force drove them into the night. The first bodies were found under the trees, around 300 meters from the tent. They were positioned as if seeking shelter or comfort, partially clothed, with frostbite visible. Weeks later, the remaining bodies were found deeper in the forest, in positions and conditions that suggested a complex and terrifying sequence of events. Autopsies revealed injuries unlike anything investigators had expected. Some had fractured skulls and ribs, as if struck with enormous force, yet there were no external wounds. Two were missing their eyes, one was missing the tongue. Traces of radiation were found on some clothing. These details fueled decades of speculation and fear. It's rare to see internal injuries of this magnitude without external trauma. Something incredibly powerful occurred, whether natural or otherwise. The radiation adds a mysterious layer, though it could have originated from proximity to radioactive soil or military materials. The pattern of injuries suggested a two-stage event. First, panic in the tent leading to exposure to extreme cold. Second, a catastrophic event causing massive internal trauma. Yet no theory fully explains both stages. Over the decades, theorists have proposed explanations, some plausible, others bordering on the fantastical. And a slab avalanche may have caused the hikers to flee, but the slope was considered too gentle. And modern simulations suggest under certain conditions, a small, fast-moving snow slab could generate enough force to injure and panic. Witnesses reported strange orange lights in the sky that night. Some theorists suggest parachute, miners, or secret weapons tests may have forced hikers into flight, consistent with trauma and radiation traces. Severe hypothermia can lead to paradoxical undressing and irrational behavior. The hikers abandoning clothes and boots aligns with this psychological effect, though it does not explain traumatic injuries. And while sensationalized, the hypothesis is not supported by evidence. Injuries do not match animal attack patterns, and no tracks were found. Wind flowing over the pass can generate low-frequency vibrations, potentially inducing fear and panic, leading to irrational flight. This may have triggered the initial tent evacuation. No single theory explains everything. The Dyatlov Pass incident is a complex puzzle with natural, psychological, and possibly human factors intertwined. Decades after the tragedy, Russian authorities reopened the Dyatlov Pass investigation in 2019. New technology, modern forensic methods, and advanced simulations offered fresh insights, but still no definitive answer. Investigators focused on a theory that had gained momentum, a small, unusual type of avalanche called a slab avalanche. Unlike the classic destructive avalanches, these move silently, striking with unexpected force and creating snow pressure capable of causing internal injuries without leaving external marks. This could explain some of the trauma observed in the bodies and why the hikers fled without gathering their equipment. Our modeling shows that a thin slab could collapse under specific wind and snow conditions. It would have been sudden, silent, and terrifying enough to force hikers to abandon their tent, even into sub-zero temperatures. But even this explanation does not account for all mysteries. The hikers' missing eyes and tongues, traces of radiation on clothing, and strange injuries remain unexplained. While avalanche theory may account for panic and exposure, it cannot answer every anomaly. Recent forensic analysis also considered environmental factors, extreme wind, infrasound effects, and psychological stress caused by isolation in freezing conditions. Experts suggest that these could combine to induce fear, hallucinations, and disoriented behavior, possibly causing hikers to make fatal decisions. And the recent investigation reaffirmed what previous generations suspected. Nature and circumstances played a crucial role. Yet something about that night defies conventional understanding. Every answer raises another question, keeping the mystery alive for historians, adventurers, and curious minds around the world. Dyatlov Pass teaches us humility. It reminds us that even the most prepared humans are vulnerable to forces beyond comprehension. The combination of natural and environmental factors, perhaps even subtle psychological effects, created a situation no one could survive unscathed. The Dyatlov Pass incident has left an indelible mark on popular culture, inspiring books, documentaries, and films around the world. The story fascinates because it balances reality with the unknown, the tension between what we can explain and what remains a mystery. The mystery captures the imagination because it involves ordinary people facing extraordinary circumstances. It's not just a story of tragedy, it's a story of human courage, curiosity, and vulnerability. Each year, adventurers and amateur researchers retrace the hiker's route, and paying homage while hoping to uncover clues that were missed decades ago. The mountain remains unforgiving, reminding visitors of nature's indifference. Dyatlov Pass also serves as a historical time capsule. Can the hiker's diaries, photographs, and clothing reflect the Soviet era's culture, spirit of exploration, and the optimism of youth? Yet, this optimism collided tragically with nature's unpredictability. It's a human story wrapped in a mystery. People are drawn to Dyatlov Pass not just for answers, but for the emotional journey, empathy for the hikers, fascination with the unknown, and reflection on human fragility. For over 60 years, this story has been retold, analyzed, and dramatized. The fascination continues because the mountain does not yield its secrets easily. Every new expedition, every new documentary keeps the legend alive. So, what truly happened on Dyatlov Pass? Were the hikers victims of a rare natural event, human error, military testing, or something even stranger? Perhaps it was a combination of forces, environmental, psychological, and accidental, converging in a single night of terror. What is certain is that these 9 young people ventured into the mountains seeking adventure, only to face circumstance. Their story reminds us of the fragility of life, the power of nature, and the enduring allure of mystery. The mountain holds its secrets close. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson of all. Not every story has a clear ending. Not every question has an answer. The Dyatlov Pass remains an enigma frozen in time, echoing through history. The Dyatlov Pass incident is more than a tragedy. It is a story of human courage, mystery, and the limits of our understanding. The mountain waits silently for the next generation to dare to uncover its secrets. Cease. The Dyatlov Pass mystery may never be fully solved, but the story of those 9 brave hikers will live on, reminding us of the power of nature and the fragility of life. If you enjoyed this journey, subscribe for more true mysteries and share your thoughts. What do you think really happened that night?